My name is Jim Dundas. I started in the fire department in 1971 as a volunteer at Springfield for 2 years. Got hired in 1973, went to the 28th Recruit School. Typical with some folks my age, the show Emergency had just started in 1972. And I was very intrigued about what they were doing out in the field. And plus, in EMS, we were just busier, and I liked being busy. So when the first Advanced Life Support class came out, we were called cardiac care technicians in those days. And the impetus for having Advanced Life Support in Fairfax County was access of Reston. It was a freestanding emergency clinic out in Reston, the only medical care out there at the time. And if patients were to be admitted to Fairfax Hospital, they had to be transported. And especially for the critical care patients, well, they had to maintain IVs, they check medications, check vitals, check EKG, and that wasn't part of the EMT curriculum at the time. So they got a bunch of us together and sent us off to Fairfax Hospital for the very first ALS class. And the class was, it was structured, but then again it was unstructured. It's whatever the doctors wanted to teach us, whatever they thought we needed to know. They gave us exams, they gave us practicals, and we I guess 6 months we were at it, and they finally said, you know, it's time to get these folks out in the field. So they created the training unit. Most people think Medic 25 was the first medic unit in the county. It was Medic 18, the training unit, because it was so close to Fairfax Hospital. And we were assigned various shifts where we would get dispatched out and added on to calls for heart attacks, chest pain, and strokes, trouble breathing, things like that. Basically, as a CCT, we started IVs and we read one lead EKG on a big machine. It was a Menin Gredpack machine, which is in the museum at fire headquarters. It's about that long, about that tall, weighed 100 pounds, and had a monitor about that big on it. And it would print off one rhythm strip, lead 2. And the introduction of the life packs was quite the change. It was a smaller unit, a lighter unit, did a lot more things. And I know one of the questions is what's different now than back then. We were still reading lead 2 rhythm strips. Then we advanced to lead 1, 2, and 3. Now they're reading 12 lead EKGs and interpreting them. And we were taught to interpret 12 lead EKGs because the doctors didn't know what to teach us. So they taught us everything. In the old days, we had to take the EKG machine and we had to hook it up to an acoustic coupler with a phone, and that would broadcast over med channel, the UHF channel, to the hospital where the doctor would read it. It got to be so troublesome that eventually when we were out on cardiac calls or the like, the doctors would eventually say, especially Commonwealth Doctors Hospital when it was still emergency room, say, just do what you need to do and tell us when you get here. But that was as primitive as you can get in advanced life support. The communication systems are much better. You know, they have Bluetooth now, they have Wi-Fi now. We didn't have any of that. All we had was UHF radio. And I think that we had been taught the clinical process of how you assess a patient and how you report on a patient's condition. And we got used to that process. And now all the treatment modalities that are involved in that diagnostic and treatment protocol are so much more than they used to be. They're giving more drugs than we used to, reading better EKGs, different kind of procedures. I mean, when I retired, they were just doing cricothyrotomies, they were just doing interosseous infusion, but I don't remember that they were doing intubation, intratracheal intubation, but they're doing that now. We were taught it, but we never did it. It was an esophageal airway that blocked off the esophagus. There was no tube in the airway. Now they're doing that. They're even giving medicines through that. So that's pretty advanced. I mean, if I was to go back into that business, I'd have to start from scratch. That's how advanced they've become.